It's the first time that I'm seeing the person who's asking the questions come prepared with various iPads and so on, and the person who's giving the answer has nothing to back him up. But still, yeah. The reason why I thought this was an interesting question which Nimish has posed as to what is a brand and how does one go about building it, is that many of us mistake the brand. You have to build a certain set of characteristics around that brand. So that when a consumer goes to buy that brand, he is already expecting something from that product that he is buying. It is not just, he is not buying a shirt, but he is buying a Louis Philippe shirt, or he is buying a Benetton t-shirt, or he is buying a Levi's pair of jeans. And when he goes to the store and asks for a Levi's pair of jeans, the fitting and the other things are secondary. It's surprising, but it is actually so. What he has in mind subconsciously is the fact that he is now entering into a sphere where he is going to be defying his parents, where he is going to be rebelling against society. That's why I'm buying a pair of Levi's. You will see that a customer of Levi's is very different from a customer of Pepe. Neither brands are good or bad. Neither brands are better or worse. They're just very different. The man who's buying a killer pair of jeans, for example, he has in his psychology, his makeup is something which says, I want to now show that I am also wearing what my boss is wearing. I want to show that I am also young. Whereas the man who's buying a Levi's pair of jeans, he says, I don't care a damn what my parents think of me. I want to wear this Levi's because I want to defy them. I want to defy the society. The two consumers are totally different. And that is what makes your brand actually a brand. That you build in a certain set of character, a certain personality, a certain set of expectations when you are facing the consumer with your brand names. That's very, very different from giving the name of the product, which can be called a label. And the important thing is that the personality of the brand cannot be built overnight. It has to be built over a period of time, and it has to match with its distribution points. It has to match with the quality. It has to match with the pricing. It has to match with the packaging. All this thing, when it falls into one sphere, then it becomes a brand. And for example, just take an example. You try and sell a Louis Philippe shirt in Big Bazaar. Will it sell? It will not. Because the consumer who is coming to Big Bazaar does not expect to buy Louis Philippe. And the consumer who wants to buy a Louis Philippe will not go to Big Bazaar. So the distribution point has to tally with your brand personality and the brand context. This is one of the reasons why the format of brand factory, if you remember, Future Group had evolved this brand factory. One of the reasons why that format did not do that well, it did well, but it did not succeed to the extent it should have, because the consumers were not geared mentally to buy a Louis Philippe shirt or a Levi's pair of jeans at 1,500 rupees and 2,000 rupees. Somehow there was a dissonance. And it was incredible in consultation with the management. I had developed a jeans brand called Urban Republic for Brand Factory. And Urban Republic outsold Levi's, Pepe, Spiker, Killer, all these brands 2:1 till the time I sold that brand. And the reason was the consumer did not have that kind of preconceived notion about Urban Republic as it had about the other brands. So this is where it is very important for you not to sort of think purely in the name of the brand name, but also as a total personality. And in fact, talking of that, even brand name, I would say that it has to match with your product. It has to match with the brand personality. Now, for example, one of the most respected names in the textile industry, retail, uh, for so many years, I don't know what it is now, was Babubhai Jagjivan Das. I'm sure all of us have heard about that, right? A very strong brand name. Anybody who wants to get married feels that he should go to Babubhai Jagjivan Das to buy his suiting fabric. Now imagine you meet a chap wearing a pair of jeans called Babubhai Jagjivan Das jeans. I mean, will that product sell at all? It won't. The total mismatch. So the brand name, the packaging, the point of distribution, all these have to be in consonance before you call your brand. So when you are building your brand, when your organization is building your brand, please make sure that all these factors are taken into account, all these factors move in the same direction, and that's when you will be successfully able to create a brand. I hope that answers your question.
Fantastic, Rahul bhai, insightful as always. Rahul bhai, we come to the second question. You've been very successful last year in taking 300 plus brands and launching them in Dubai and under the umbrella of Brands of India. So I would like you to share your vision behind it. How did the thought originate? How did the Brands of India come into existence, and what do you see it? How do you see it navigating the course of future?
First of all, Nimish, let me clarify. Jayesh Shah is the chairman of the Brands of India committee.
So sorry, I'm interrupting. I have his permission in taking your name and giving you the spotlight. Don't worry, we have it in written.
Yeah, I was wanting to say that I hope you are not recording this. See, although people over the years have always looked upon me as the representative of the domestic industry, and yes, I have represented the domestic industry, but the irony was that I always belonged to a group which was far more in exports than it was in the domestic market. And even me individually was selling probably more in exports than in the domestic market. But yes, so I do know a bit about exports. One thing which always annoyed me, frustrated me, and disappointed me was that we may have been the third highest, fourth highest, fifth highest, sixth highest exporters in the world. We were always selling under our buyers' labels. We were not selling our own labels. Now, for the life of me, I could not understand why we are in Dubai. They came up to me and said, Rahul bhai, my Indian price is 2,000 rupees. How much should I sell it in dollars? Now, if you don't even know the conversion of rupees into dollars, I don't think you had any business sitting out there. So, yes, therefore, there were a few people disappointed. But by and large, I think we were more than satisfied with the response. Again, I think you need to be very clear about the objectives and the process, the way the export market works. People, when they sit in National Garment Fair, they expect that the retailers will come, see their samples, place their orders, write their orders, and you can, go ahead with the supplies. It doesn't work that way in exports. Essentially, people will want to see you, they want to see your production facilities, they want to see your stitching capabilities, they will exchange cards, they will probably fix up an appointment for you to come and meet them in their offices, or perhaps say that I'm coming to India next month, where can we meet? This is how the export process works. So you need to be ready for that. But otherwise, I think it's a opportunity that we should not let go. Even our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, when he was inaugurating Bharat Tex, he said that look, stop limiting yourself to to your city and to your state and to your Indian market. Look abroad, look beyond. And I'm sure he was not referring to do more job work, because that's what, and the exporter, my friends, and I have very many friends in the export segment, I mean, they get mad at me. And when I say that, look, basically you guys are all a bunch of glorified job workers. But I mean, that's putting it in a little exaggerated manner. But I'm saying that think beyond, think the margins that you have in building your own brand, in marketing your own brand, you'll never get in doing an FOB business. That much I can guarantee. Yes, it is more risky. Yes, it has more challenges, but you have to build your brand. I can tell you one thing. There are the domestic manufacturers who participate in our NGF, and some of them are sitting right in front of me. But at 20 crores turnover and 30 crores turnover, they make far more profits than what we supplying to Reliance and supplying to Future Group and supplying to other brands make with 100 crores turnover. That much I can guarantee you. So this is where you need to understand that think beyond the domestic market, look at the exports, try and market your brand. It will be a slow process. It will be a difficult process. But I think it is the right opportunity. And I think Brands of India is a good platform for sort of venturing into the export markets. And start off with these Middle East and North African markets where there is Indian diaspora, where Indians have heard of you, when they've heard of your brands. And even if they have not heard, they have that little affinity to that Indian manufacturer. So I think it's a tremendous opportunity. We are going to continue this event, and this November 24 will also see the second edition of Brands of India in Dubai again. So I would encourage all of you who have a brand and who are ambitious to participate in that.
Fantastic, Rahul bhai. On that note, I see a gentleman in the front audience. He was a participant in Brands of India, and he has this amazing children wear brand called Vitamins. Ojas needs no introduction. So
I was referring to him. I didn't want to embarrass him, but
so
here is
exactly.
a domestic brand. I think even he has lost track of the number of apartments and flats his father has bought for him. So that's the kind of margins that these guys enjoy.
They are no longer buying
I
flats,
don't
they
enjoy.
buy the buildings these days. So I like to just hand the mic to Ojas. Ojas, this is a great topic. Can you share your experience of being a part of Brands of India and Dubai? Please enlighten the audience. That would be great.
Hi guys, good evening. I mean, that was our first time of exposure internationally, and things were good for us. We've able to crack couple of buyers in the way we were not inclined towards working towards exports, but then the kind of setup that we have gone into since last 3-4 years, and we have a kind of a production capacity to go globally. So yeah, this was an eye opener for us probably. And मतलब हम लोग ने तो ऐसे ही चलो ना ठीक है, CMAI ने ऑर्गेनाइज किया है, राहुल भाई बोले डैड को कि लेना है तो चलो एक बार ले लिया. But then we prepared a lot of stuff behind that. I mean, the kind of discussion that Rahul bhai told us, that dollar ka price kya hai. So we had a lot of working behind that, and that is how we able to pull off certain business from there. But then that was just the first year of what CMI had done there. But then there is a lot way ahead to go. Whatever they had done for the first year, what is a commendable job. I am sure that there would be a lot of learnings taken from there, and probably next edition would be much more better. We are looking forward to it. We are very positive towards it. We would be 100%, be a part of Brands of India in edition 2 as well. So that is the kind of positiveness we have in our org to go ahead with the Brands of India. Yeah.
Fantastic. So, Ojas, wishing you great success and wishing success to a lot of other brands and entrepreneurs over there.
Just for information, 2 weeks from now, the first delegation of CMI committee members is going to Africa to market brands of India. So this is the first time that we are marketing it to even markets like Africa.
Fantastic.
So we are trying to do our best.
Let's hear it for Rahul Bhai and the vision that the global vision he carries. Very important question that is plaguing the industry at the moment. The industry is obviously going through a lot of churn. There's so much changes happening, rapid changes happening. It's just evolving at a much faster pace than it used to be, say, 2 decades ago. So, how do you see the future of Indian apparel brands evolving in the next decade? And what trends should manufacturers be aware of? And I'm saying it also with context to fast fashion, e-commerce. These were not concepts 10 years ago. They were not a part of the lexicon of the business directory. It's all just sprung up. And they're getting bigger by the day. So it also confuses people. People could be, doubtful about entering an arena here, or do they navigate this river or that water. So what does the next decade look like? I mean, a person with your vision can probably enlighten the audience on that aspect, please.
We are very, very fortunate to be in this industry which has no obsolescence factor. So that's one thing that we need to keep in our mind. Population is always going to keep growing, and people are always going to wear clothes. What type they will wear will differ. How many clothes they wear will differ. Whether they wear cotton or polyester might differ, but there will always be a clothing which will be there. So you are in an industry which is never going to die. B, you are in an industry which does not have too many dramatic changes in the technology or the processes of the product itself. So that's something which, today I can assure you, even mobile phones, they cannot assume that they will be there 10 years from now. Who knows? And already the phones, I think the watches have become half of phones. They will keep expanding their technology, improving their technology, and maybe tomorrow holding this phone in your hand will become too inconvenient. So even the hottest industry today of mobile phones, even that may not last for 10 years. The clothing industry will remain. So that's one factor that you need to keep in check. However, what you need to understand is that not only is the industry evolving, but also the consumer is evolving. And many people tend to forget that the consumer is also evolving. I'll give you the example of my own brand, 109F. I don't know how many of you all have heard of that. When we entered the market, the Zaras and the H&Ms were the only brands available, and perhaps to some extent Anita Dongre's and we focused ourselves on the 30 plus women, the Indian woman who had her own sensibilities, which perhaps was not understood fully by a Zara or an H&M or any of the international brands. And we were an overnight success. And we were very, very successful for more than 10 years. We suddenly started slowly going down. Now, there were massive arguments in our board, massive arguments between me and my partner as to why this is happening, what is happening. And we were all convinced that no, our target audience is the right one and we should focus on that. Yes, that was the right decision. But what we forgot was that the 30 plus Indian woman and her sensibilities was also changing, was also evolving. If my 30-year-old daughter-in-law was not comfortable in showing, let's say, her skin in a crop top more than maybe an inch, 10 years later, that 30-year-old lady was comfortable in showing 3 inches. And therefore the crop top, which was a huge success for the lady customer who wanted to wear a crop top but not show so much of her stomach, was out of date. And we didn't keep pace with that. And that's when the brand went down. So the consumer is also evolving. So the future of the Indian apparel industry is absolutely safe and is absolutely strong, provided you keep pace with the changing technology, with the changing consumer tastes, with the changing market requirements. Now, for example, when e-commerce came in, I still remember Kishore Miani, who I think, let's not get into controversial issues, but who I still believe was one of the most far-sighted and brilliant analytical person of the Indian market. He in an open forum said, what is this e-commerce guy here? Well, 5 साल भी नहीं टिकेंगे. What happened? That 55 years is now probably will go on for another 50 years, but e-commerce will remain and it is becoming stronger and stronger and stronger. So it's like, and then came the classic controversy as to online versus offline. Right? Any forum that you address today, will online defeat offline, will offline survive? And I kept asking people that, guys, this is not a X versus Y, it is X and Y. As you look, when the Bombay market, let's take the example of Bombay market. It was, if you remember, some of the older people, maybe Harish and all will remember, Colaba was the main market, right? When Breach Candy started, I said, did you remain in Colaba saying, who will want to go to Breach Candy? You opened a store in Breach Candy. Why? Because that's where the consumer went. When Lokhandwala started, you opened a store in Lokhandwala. Why? Because that's where the consumer went. So you followed the consumer. So if today the consumer is going to online, you need to go with him to the online. And now, last couple of months, now e-commerce is being replaced by quick commerce. So the markets are going to keep changing, evolving. At one time, it was a matter of prestige if you got a space in one of these large departmental stores. At one time, if you had a space in a large MBO like Benzer or Chunmoon or Stan Max, I mean, you thought you had conquered the world. Today it is not so. Today you need to have your EBOs, your exclusive brand outlets. You need to be in these large format stores. So you have to keep changing. The industry will keep changing. But even more importantly, your consumer will keep changing. So if you are able to keep pace with this change, then I think you don't have anything to worry. You are in a very, very safe industry and you will continue to grow.
Well, that's clinical insight. Rahul, I'll extend this topic on something very important. You successfully led CMAI from where it was 30 brands in Hotel President or Syrup used to be the first exhibitions way back, to now more than 450, the big hall, Nesco. I mean, how it has all evolved. 1100, sorry, I stand corrected. So obviously the scale has grown bigger, the association has become stronger, there are many support teams that have enabled it. Now these topics, when you tell it to a small and a medium entrepreneur who's already has its own battles, he has supply chain challenges, financial crunch, he's already making, it's a difficult race for him. Now with this rapid changes happening, e-commerce happening, quick commerce happening, tomorrow we don't know which commerce is around the corner, design changing, trend changing, product categories changing. 5 saal pehle we never heard of something like athleisure. Today athleisure has probably become the largest selling segment in the Indian retail segment, so to say. So how does, and I speak as an association head, you had a very significant and a robust association. How do you see the role of industry associations like CMAI in supporting and promoting the growth of Indian apparel SMEs by way of many more aspects, design intelligence, fashion forecasting, product technology knowledges, etc. I mean, some aspects could have been a miss while we did something right. There could be some gaps. So your thoughts on that, sir, please.
I think industry associations play a very crucial role in the development of the industry. Unfortunately, most associations today are primarily either cocktail party kind of get-togethers or the fairs which they organize. It's not that CMA has any monopoly on organizing fairs. Yes, we do organize the largest fair in the industry. But every organization gets into every association gets into organizing a small fair of its own. And I think that is what is the mistake that both the association leaders as well as the industry members are doing. We are, I was talking to the then textile minister, Smriti Irani, a couple of years ago, and she was saying, Rahul bhai, it's amazing when I talk to an in a textile industry or a garment industry, there are almost as many associations as there are members. Because today you have an Ashish Industrial Association, you have a Malad Association, you have a Dadar Association, you have this. What is the need for all these associations? You are only weakening yourself. Strengthen. I think the industry should get together and say, let's strengthen this particular association. And when the association has numbers, that's when the association will be heard. After all, look, the government is there to create policy matters, but they don't have the time to meet each and every manufacturer. They want to hear one unified voice. Today, forget the garment industry, in the textile industry, if the garment industry says you should ban imports of garments, the fabric industry will say no, we should have an FTA with Bangladesh because then they can use our fabrics. If the fabric fellow wants to ban or to impose additional import duty on the fabrics to be imported, the garment fellow says why? If we have a cheaper fabric from China, why should we have an import duty on fabrics? So there is no unity at all in our industry. And that is one of the stumbling blocks, if I may say. But otherwise, to come back to your question, Nimish, I think the association can play a very, very crucial role in 2 or 3 things. Number one, it provides a platform for its members to increase and improve their business. Number two, it provides a link with the rest of the industry, which in an individual capacity a member may not be able to do. Thirdly, I think it creates some kind of a body of knowledge which will help the manufacturer or the members to improve the quality of their products, their manufacturing processes, whatever. So with the latest developments in the industry. And this is where CMAI is succeeding, where some of the others are probably not to that extent at least, is that we do not stop at just conducting our fairs. Although we are most well known for our national garment fairs, today we also have our fabric accessories and beyond fairs, the Fab Show, which is starting day after tomorrow. We also have vendor sourcing fair. which is meant for those manufacturers who don't necessarily want to market their brands, but have a manufacturing capacity which they want to market. So we are having separate fairs for them. But this is not the only activity. I think one of our most important activities is our conciliation and arbitration committee, where for the last 10, 20 years, we must have recovered at least 200 to 300 crores worth of funds for our industry. And even today, 10 years later, we are still collecting between 25 to 50 lakhs every month for our industry. And I think that's a huge support to the members. And till now, we suffered from one weakness, which is that our conciliation awards did not have any legal teeth. You couldn't, if the fellow, if your retailer did not heed the decision of the CMAI, there was nothing that you could do except that, okay, CMAI will blacklist or blackball that name. But beyond that, nothing else. Now we have started the arbitration, and it's a legally recognized arbitration panel. So today, if CMAI arbitration panel gives an award, you could go to the High Court and get a decree for your claim. So that's again a huge sort of service that the association is providing. Then we have now started what we call the Manufacturing and Productivity Council, where we are going to start. I think we had our first couple of meetings in the last few months, but this is, I think, on the 9th we had this last meeting where we talked. We invited 3 experts to talk on how do domestic brands go into exports, get into exports. So we Manufacturing and Productivity Council, the idea is that it will try and upgrade the technologies available. It will try and educate the members into what is available, the latest techniques that are available, and latest developments that have happened, taken place in the rest of the world. So that is again an increasing of knowledge. Unfortunately, I have to confess here that the response of our industry is not as excited and not as positive as it should be towards any knowledge sharing or knowledge gaining activities or initiatives. You give them, यार आज आ जाओ, आज मीटिंग में आओगे तो आपको NGF में एक स्टॉल मिलेगा. You will have 1,000 people lining up out here. But you tell them that, look, the world's greatest teacher in textile industry, and I'm not referring to myself, so don't misunderstand. But you bring the master of the textile industry to speak to you, and you will really find it difficult to collect 100 people. So that is, I think it's an unfortunate thing, but I feel that with more and more youngsters coming in, and I'm absolutely delighted to see so many ladies in this auditorium. But I think when you start having youngsters, that's when they will start appreciating these initiatives more. And hats off to Harish you for creating this group. Whatever support CMAI can give you, we would love to do that, because that's basically, we are not competing with each other. We are, I think, both of us are there to serve the industry, and I think we should do that.
Fantastic, Rahul bhai. Again, insightful as always. So with that, we kind of close the question and answer thing. I would like to open up this space for the audience. As Rahul bhai rightly said, fund of Nari Shakti काफी जोर में है यहाँ पे. And so let me give this mic to our favorite lady, Chaya Prashant. Maybe she has some questions to ask Rahul bhai or anyone. Please feel free. It's an open space. So would like to have a go first regarding brands, SME, Indian space, international space. I mean, here is an encyclopedia of knowledge. Anyone, guys? Yes. Please, sir. Mic. I'll give you the mic. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I am Pankaj from Purple Creations. I know Rahul bhai very much. He is so helpful to the everyone's. I would like to understand one about the brand. I would like to understand there are a lot of established brand already there in the market, and it is having their place in the market. How a new brand or another brand who want to establish, what should he do and what should be the, matlab, the things should be done.
So one good news for those new brands who want to enter the market is that world over, very few brands are able to retain their position for more than 10 to 20 years. So which means that every year 10 to 15% of the brands, existing brands who are occupying the top slots today will be falling down, will be going down. So creating space for newer brands. So that's one ironically a good piece of news for you. Uh, how you can enter, I would say number one, which Indian manufacturers and entrepreneurs do very little of, is market research. I think it is something that all of us, I mean, I would encourage all of you to do before you launch a new brand. Research your market. What is the market for the kind of product that you want to launch in the market? What is the size of the market? What are the characteristics of that market? Where is the niche available? See, today, for example, you come and say, okay, I want to introduce a formal shirt brand. Why do you want to introduce it? Because I am very good at manufacturing formal shirts. It doesn't make any sense. You might be good at anything. Does the market need another brand of formal shirts? That is a question that you have to answer. Will you be able to compete with a brand like Louis Philippe or Van Heusen or Zodiac or anybody? That's the question that you need to answer. If you think that you have, okay, why and how? Look, let's face it, none of, I won't say none, I'll be presumptuous in that, but very few of us are sitting out here will be able to match Aditya Birla Group for their resources, financial resources. Okay, so what you need to do is to hit them where they are not strong, and that is something that you need to figure out. Because it's not always the strongest who will win a battle. It is the cleverest who will beat the battle. So you need to find out what is the niche available. Where is the niche or the gap in the market? Today the whole new industry of athleisure has come up, as Nimish mentioned. Why did it come up? Because there was a gap in the market which people had not realized. And when you saw that gap, those who went into it succeeded amazingly, incredibly. And this is, so number one, study the market. Number two, study what is missing in the market, what is required in the market. And number three, at what is the characteristic of this product that is missing, and then launch that product. The chances of you launching that brand successfully will be much more. And having said that, again go back to whatever I said about creating a brand. Make sure that your product is right, your price is right, your distribution point is right, your packaging is right, and your communication. That's another thing which I would like to say. I'll just take a minute more, Nimish, because I think one common mistake that many of us make is that branding and marketing is equal to advertising. It is not. Advertising is a very small portion of marketing and brand building. And at least today, the role of physical advertising is coming down every year, and very dramatically so. Today, it is the social media marketing, the online marketing which is catching up, which is far cheaper and which you and I can afford. So that is something that you need to figure out, because communicating, you might be making the best trousers in the world. If nobody knows about your trousers, how are you going to increase your sales? How is the consumer going to come? So this is what I'm trying to say. I mean, and again, I would like to take Ojas's example, the brand of vitamin. I don't think Vitamin spends crores of rupees every year in advertising, but it has created a brand image in the consumer's market, where today a consumer comes asking for vitamins. And that is what I'm saying, that advertising is important, but not the only factor, and but the communicating factor is very, very important. That's what I would say. You can, I don't know if I've answered your question.
Fantastic. Any other person?
Rahul Bhai, of course, one of the best garment industry minds in the country. Just want to know that exports is going down year on year, 10-20%. Also, I think domestic market is having its own problems as far as demand is concerned. So, what are your views of the industry now and going forward? Where would you see the growth coming from?
Well, as I answered that question briefly on a more macro level, that the industry is going to survive because people are going to wear clothes and population is growing. So it is a domestic market, I think, is pretty safe. Yes, it has hit a certain amount of speed breaker. All of us are today crying about MSME, 45 days payments and so on and so forth. But I don't see any long-term slowdown happening in the domestic market. In the domestic market, I think what people are not realizing is that you are not competing with another brand of garments. What you are competing with is other forms of expenditure. So, say 10 years ago, if you wore a Louis Philippe shirt or a Benetton t-shirt or a Levi's pair of jeans, you had reached somewhere. Today, if you own a Samsung phone or an iPhone, that's when it's a sign that you have reached somewhere. So you are not competing with another brand of apparel, but you are competing with other lifestyle things. So your total market may be impacted. The rate of growth will probably be slower, in my view, than what was earlier. Because that's when I would say in the last decade, what was happening was that a huge percentage of the Indian population, which were not earlier wearing ready-made garments, had started wearing ready-made garments. There was a massive amount of urbanization happening. There was a massive amount of market growth that was happening. So all these factors combined to give you a 15-20% growth every year. That's not going to remain. You are going to be faced with a slower rate of growth, but the growth will be there. And with that, the growth of supply is also increasing. And in terms of the bigger players, they are now not restricting themselves to metros and tier 1 and tier 2 cities. They are going into tier 3 also. They are going to tier 4 also. So you will find a Shoppers Stop or a V-Mart or a Style Union going to smaller cities. And therefore, the competition is going to be tough, but the market is there. So whether the consumer spends it in your brand or an online brand or another brand, that is a question mark that you have to figure out. But the total market is going to be there. As far as exports are concerned, it's something that I'm shouting myself hoarse, but I've stopped shouting because nobody listens to me. The only time that's why I prefer a mic, because that's when my voice can be heard. But unless we expand our product base, we can never grow in the exports market. Look, 70% of our market, our exports, is in the cotton-based category. 60% of the global trade is in the MMF-based category. What are you competing? You're not even in the main market. We have focused on low to mid price cotton casual wear. And In this product category, it is my belief that we have already captured about 30% of the world share. This is as against 3% of the total global market that we have. I'm saying, I'm being bold and saying we have captured almost 30% of the world share. In this product category, you cannot grow beyond this. Because even in this category, now the requirement is for much larger quantities than we are able to provide. So A, we want to sell products, we want to export products that we are comfortable in manufacturing. B, we want to export products made in factories that we are comfortable to manage. नहीं, इधर हमको ट्रेड यूनियन नहीं चाहिए, हमको प्रोफेशनलाइज नहीं करना है. जो जितनी क्वांटिटी, जितने मशीन्स मैं, मेरा बेटा, उसकी बहू और उसका भाई जितना मैनेज कर सकते हैं उतना हम लोग एक्सपैंड करेंगे, उसके अलावा हम नहीं करेंगे. So then how are you going to increase your sales? So we keep talking about, exports are down, exports are, yes, there are current problems like your Gulf War and your your Ukraine-Russian war. There are these problems and they will always come, they will keep happening. But I mean, unless you expand, people keep talking about expanding your market base. I've never agreed to that. 70% of our market is in US and EU, but that's where the global trade is happening. So by increasing your Australia, Piyush Goyal got mad at me when I said, sir, what's the point of having FTA with Australia and New Zealand and all that? For our industry, it's not good. Your dairy industry or other industries, that might benefit. So I'm not saying that's a wrong decision of the government, but don't expect any great spike in exports. I mean, take UAE. Hey, Rahul ji, UAE में हमने क्या किया आपने? कुछ नहीं किया. ऐसे यहाँ 5% तो ड्यूटी इम्पोर्ट था, इम्पोर्ट ड्यूटी था, तो 5% में क्या फर्क पड़ता है? 15%, 10%, 12% फर्क होता था. Then yes, then an FTA will make a huge impact. Not with 2-3%. I mean, this recent one with not the EU, but the subsection of EU, Scandinavia and Denmark and all these countries, Norway and all. I mean, FTA signed, right? Big halla gulla. What was the current import duty? 1% to 2%. यार सोचो तो सही है, क्या फर्क पड़ेगा FTA? ठीक है, for them it was fine to make that announcement, but for us, it's not going to help. So I think you need to change your product category.
Does that answer?
Hi, Rahulji. This is Nandesh from Surat. My firm's name is Fabric and Fabric. We are into value addition of fabrics. My question is, with the quick commerce coming into space and probably will be the fastest growing segment as far as e-commerce is concerned, what will happen? What is the scenario for retail? I'm not talking about the bigger shopper shops and websites of the countries. I'm talking about the franchise-owned retail spaces, the brand-owned MBOs and EBOs in the country. What will happen with them?
I'm absolutely clear in my mind that e-commerce cannot replace offline stores. It cannot. Beyond a certain point, it simply cannot. There is a limit, and I'm talking about our industry, right? Now, okay, if you want to sell, or if you want to buy a plain solid color t-shirt, now you might say, okay, yeah, let me order through Amazon, let me do that, fine. But if you want to order a pair of good-looking formal shirt, or a style shirt, you want to know how it feels. You want to know how you look in that. Right? So therefore, you are going to continue going to the offline stores, where the challenge lies. And of course, what is happening now is omni-channel, where there is a merger between your e-commerce and your physical stores, in either way. So there are lots of people who find that buying on e-commerce is cheaper. So they go to the stores, they look around, they select the style number, etc., and then they order through e-commerce. There is also the other way around, that you look at the e-commerce, the photographs, or whatever, you feel that this looks interesting. Let me go and check it out. Actually, how it looks. And I'll give you my own personal example. My son is with the Bombay Shirt Company, which is a custom-made this thing, which they're largely e-commerce online, but they've got a few stores. So I was going through that, and I saw a jacket which looked very interesting. It was a linen jacket and a pair of jeans. This is the Bombay Shirt Company jeans, and I said, looks very interesting. Fortunately, the store was just about 15-20 minutes away from my house. So on last weekend I went there and I took a look at that. I felt it, I wore it, fitted me well, and I bought it. I bought it from the...
So I have a add-on question to it. Because I related it to quick commerce is because quick commerce gives you a convenience as of in time. So in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, the product is in your hand. So if the fashion industry gets converted into that quick commerce where your Instamart or Denzo and all people start delivering to you this product to your place, and considering India is a price conscious market and it will be a price conscious market, वो हमेशा ऑनलाइन जाएगा, चेक करेगा, ऑफलाइन स्टोर में वो 5,000 का मिल रहा है, 4,500 का मिल रहा है. Even if it is a 200 rupees difference, we will have a price conscious effect in my mind and will end up buying online. So considering that point, and secondly आपको quick commerce में कल जाके returns के भी options मिलने लगेंगे, where you will have that convenience of returning that product if you don't like it. Then what will happen to the retail space?
So again, I'm repeating my point and my conviction that you will never be able to get rid of your physical retail. Please keep that in mind. But as an owner of physical retail, if you are one, you have to understand that you also have to change with times. You have to evolve. So for example, if you can tie up with some e-commerce people, or you have various other facilities, there are lots of technologies today which are available, which can be used by offline retailers to improve their consumer reach and consumer loyalty. Some years ago, 2-3 years ago, I think somebody had introduced a very interesting app, which if your store ties up with that app, your entire inventory of that store goes into that app, and the consumer can go through that and know exactly what is available, what quantity, color, size, blah blah blah, and then place the order on your store, and your physical store will supply that. So these are kind of things which you need to adapt to, and you need to again look at your consumer. There was a time when I joined the industry, in 500 square feet, which was considered a big store at that time, you sold everything from a bra to a blazer. Now, you can't do that today. Nobody will come to you if that's the product offering that you have. So you need to keep evolving. And quick commerce, again, I don't know whether it is just a jargon that people have introduced.
It's a subset of e-commerce.
It's basically e-commerce. And look, nobody is going to be able to supply you a freshly manufactured shirt in 10 minutes.
So I think we are running a little short of time. Let's wrap this. Okay. We will have one or two quick questions, very quick, because we have other panelists to go through also. Yeah. Make it short, make it.
Hello sir, my name is Vishnu Sharma. We are basically a fabric export company, but around 2 years ago we started making garments, and our idea was to cater to the woman good quality office wear garments, because my daughter and her friends said it's when you go for office wear you have to go to big brands. beautifully for any other. So there means high price items. We thought we must provide the high quality, good fabric, good quality fabrics for the common people at very reasonable rates. We started, we did it, and our main purpose, basic marketing strategy was through online. We did it, but 70% of the products being sold through online are getting returned. And there are some buyers like jacket. They buy jacket and they return some old shirts or something, like that. Many like that. So marketing, it's very big. We thought in the Corona time many people started this online is very good, but we really did not succeed. So how means marketing? Can you please suggest on that? Thank you.
You'll have to call me for a second session on that to answer that. But all I can say is, look, I mean, every form of business, every business model will have its own challenges, and yes, you are right. Returns are a major issue in online. That's true.
Hi, I have a quick question. My name is Devansh Kiani. I'm the last survivor of Wollaston dyeing, bleaching, and printing, which I think a lot of people are aware of in Bhandup West. We're I'm fourth generation textiles, having my grandfather start in Yokohama trading silk. We have an office in Los Angeles and we used to have an office in New York. But before I continue, I'd like to thank Harish Punjabi because he associated with us when he was actually working with Eric Apparels. And thank you. My question is that I have a lot of clients coming to me and saying that they eventually are working with India. We don't want to work with China, we can't work with Turkey, etc. But we want to use our discharge printing because we were pioneers in it. We even were pioneers in the rayon crepe that we made. Now, having you as, let's say, the core of the garment industry, and someone like me being from a family of pioneers of fabric, I have people saying that how do we nominate you as a supplier because we want to work with certain garment companies, but they are outsourcing and using traders. You can't have a garment without the fabric, and you can't have a fabric producer without you supplying the garment and then the ultimate customer. What exactly can we do? Because we are restarting and evolving our line. We shut down for 3 years for Corona. We had to move our machines out. What exactly is the garment industry doing to bridge the gap between fabric evolution, sustainability, ease of reach? I see a lot of designers coming to me and saying that, hey, we are using stock, we don't want to do this, we just want to do digital printing. And this is Naresh, please stand up, he's been with us for 42 years, he's the production manager. We used to buy color services from Doniger and etc. And then we used to make about 40 different colors. And then we used to have 10 to 15 different combinations for each design. And that was a lot of investment. But nobody wants to do that anymore. And discharge printing is a double process. So how do we bridge the gap between having garments, because we're talking a lot about garments, but you need fabric for that. How and are you sourcing your garment or your fabrics, and what do you want us as fabric experts to do so you can get to where you want, instead of everyone going to the same supplier and not having anything novel rather than your colors and your branding? What about the intrinsic value of your clothing? Sorry for the long question.
No, it's okay. No, I mean, again, I don't know if I have the right answer for it, but you are in a very lucky position if your customers, the buyers, are willing to nominate you. Then it's the best way to go about it, because the garment manufacturer will have no choice but to approach you. So that's the easiest way to go about it, and get yourself nominated. When I was in exports, I am in exports, we have to buy accessories from China, for example. We have to buy accessories from a nominated supplier. Even a testing laboratory is nominated. So the garment manufacturer will do whatever the customer insists upon. So that I don't think should be a problem. Using the right kind of fabrics, yes, that I guess is an individual manufacturer's choice as to what kind of fabrics he would like to buy, whether he wants to keep offering something new. Uh, that is again something that is an individual choice. But it's a interesting point that he has raised, and I think that is one of the reasons why people are losing interest in the textile industry, because we have stopped innovating. Yeah, today again I go back to mobiles, but whether it is mobiles or automobiles or refrigerators, you keep coming out with new innovations which forces people, either physically or mentally, to buy that new product, although the earlier one is still serviceable and still workable. But what is the new kind of shirt that you brought? What is the new fabric that we've developed? And the last new fabric that was developed was stretch, God knows how many years ago, 20 years or 30 years ago. Whether so, I mean, for example, the day or the time that we introduced overnight denim, first of all, the washed denim, the denim industry saw a huge spike. Then when it overnight denim, again it saw a huge spike. So you introduce something new, you will get that spike. Athleisure, a new concept that was introduced. It sees a spike. So that innovation is something that you have to do, whether you are a fabric manufacturer or a garment manufacturer. You have to keep bringing in new stuff, and if you have got, I think that's a good contact that your group has. Make use of his.
Perfect. Guys, we have really short on time, and Rahul Bhai also needs to go. He has another family engagement to attend to. So I'll quickly hand over the mic to Harish ji. He'll give a vote of thanks to him. Rahul Bhai, we are expecting.
Just one small.
Huh?
Thank you very much for this illustrious discussions we had, and a lot of knowledge we got today from you. I am Kailash Agarwal. I am ex-president of the Birla Group, Satluj. I have handled right from fiber till garment, fiber, spinning, weaving, processing, home textile and garment. I served the company for 30 years and traveled to 128 countries. And I was the man who brought modal to this country. The first import of fiber was by me. And similar time, the lycra stretch was also brought into India. I've been attending various seminars on international levels, and as you said, I'm adding to your illustration when you said the main area of Indian export is about 60% of cotton, right? So the industry is focusing mainly on the cotton as far as the garments are concerned. Whereas the international scenario is on the MMF. And when we say MMF, it mainly consists of polyesters, or at the most we can talk of viscose, right? But today, many international brands are talking about sustainable textiles. And in this area, I am looking at an area which is called, various natural eco-friendly fibers. Fibers like milk produced out of milk, banana fibers produced out of banana, corn fiber. So these are not only fibers, where India can work on. This is my only, I'm looking at this area where Indian textile, Indian garment industry can grow. I mean, how do you see this area to grow as far as the Indian scene is concerned?
Absolutely. I think you hit the right chord. Even MMF today is 60% or 70% of the global trade, but is not going to remain there permanently. The newer fibers, as you correctly pointed out, the natural fibers are slowly but surely gaining some ground. And one thing is absolutely certain, that if India wants to progress on the export front, it will have to move away from the low price being the prime selling tool to sustainability and various other platforms which are available. So sustainability, sustainable fabrics, sustainable processes is something that is going to play a very, very important role. And in that, these new natural fibers that are coming up, I think will play an increasingly important role in the future. So maybe 10 years from now, people will say, why the hell are you still manufacturing MMF and polyester and whatever? You should get into jute fibers and milk fibers and whatever else fibers.
Banana. Cool.
Anything that you eat and drink today, I think you should be able to wear tomorrow. I think that's the